Greetings, everyone. I am Todd.
Oh, I'm Ryan.
I'm Erik.
Together we are the CinAmigos.
CinAmigos.
Talking Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Finally.
Star Wars came out.
Yeah, it came out, and it's
Wait,
making
Star
a
Wars?
crap load of money.
Mhm.
Episode 7 came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear about it.
Dude, you had one
You didn't
job
hear
to
about
do.
I feel like they didn't even publicize it.
Yeah, no,
No.
it
Nobody's
wasn't anywhere.
talking
No one
about
knows
it.
about it.
No one heard about it. I didn't hear about it.
We are here to review spoiler heavy Star Wars The Force Awakens. So if you have not seen it, I don't know what's wrong with you. We don't know what's wrong with you. It's made over $760 million in North America. You probably have seen it.
Yeah, my mother went and saw this movie. Bless her soul. I think she's been to. That's her third movie of the year. So she went and saw it. You guys can see it.
Exactly.
Wow.
So if you haven't seen it, don't watch this yet. Come back after you've seen it. However, if you have seen it, it's time to get nerdy with us as we share our thoughts about the movie. If we are our disappointments, our expectations, were they too high? Were they met? Were they exceeded? We will get into all of it. But first, we made some predictions before we saw the movie.
Yeah.
Just kind of where we thought if certain characters would die or live, who would be related to whom. So anyways, Erik, why don't we go through your predictions first?
All right. Okay, here are my predictions. Number
real
one, Han dies heroically giving his life to save others. That's not really true.
You were half right.
I mean, he was like heroically trying to bring Kylo back.
That was
which
a very
would
heroic
save
that
everyone.
was
to do.
heroic of him.
That was a
I'm just
heroic
going to
thing
say
to
I
do.
was right.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I was right.
We'll give you that.
Okay, that was my first prediction. Second prediction, Kylo Ren and Phasma team up to hunt down Finn and Rey. Didn't happen. I wanted more Phasma. That's
Yeah.
That's all right.
Kind of right.
Sort of. Finn has a crush on Rey, but it doesn't work out. Okay?
That's actually...
I'm pretty
we'll
close.
get into that. That's pretty
It
good,
hasn't
though.
worked out yet, so
But I think Finn is.
it might work out. I think he's got a chance.
I think Finn's feeling it.
Oh,
think
Finn
he's-
is feeling. He
Did
wants
he
to feel
get
it.
friend
You know
zoned,
what I'm
though?
saying?
I think he
He might have gotten friend zoned.
Okay,
We'll
so
see. Anyways.
I was right twice, once and a half. And then for Kylo Ren has an emotional moment with Luke, like Obi-Wan and Anakin in Episode 3. You were my brother.
You were the chosen one.
He had an emotional moment with his dad, but then
Yeah,
he just
not
killed
with
him.
Luke.
So not right there.
Yeah.
And then 5, I said R2-D2 would pass the torch to BB-8, and like we wouldn't see R2 again. I think in effect, people have transitioned to BB-8. But
Yeah.
obviously
It wasn't
there
R2.
was no symbolic passing of the torch, so I didn't really get that. But I'm gonna say 1.5 out of 5. I feel pretty good.
I don't know. I would
1.5
even give you
out of
maybe 2.
I'm really proud of
So,
Finn
yeah,
having a
for the-
crush
for
on
the
on
Finn-
Rey.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
really good about
That's
that.
fair.
So
Yeah.
that was me.
Ryan, your predictions.
I'm not gonna lie. I was watching the movie and I was like really excited because like a lot of my predictions were kind of coming true. First one, Rey is Luke's daughter.
That's unanswered.
We're gonna talk about that
Yeah.
for certain. It still is possible. That's a
It is
leave that a
possible.
question mark.
Totally.
Number 2, Han dies. Chewie does not.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
called it.
Exactly.
Nice.
Bingo.
Luke has a new scar on his face.
He looks
So-
pretty scarred up and old. So
I think
I'm
that's
just gonna
just
say
his
yes.
old scars and aging.
Yeah, that's Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should have said Luke looks like Mark Hamill, and maybe I would have gotten that one.
maybe.
Boy, he
That would've
yeah.
been pretty
fierce though.
He looked cool.
Yeah.
I actually, and his beard, the
He
the
looked
robe.
kind of
Awesome.
kind of ticked. I don't
He
know.
did, yeah.
Maybe he
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
But the whole reason I thought that is because they kept saying, when you see the movie, you'll understand why we haven't shown anything of Luke. I was like, when you see the movie, you'll know. And I'm like, well, maybe like we'll literally see something on him in his appearance that will.
It was messed up. or
Watch though,
something.
rather than being
Yeah.
angry, it turns out he's just crazy, and we get into episode 8. It's just gonna be like a Castaway scene, and he's just like talking to a volleyball, talking to a Jedi trainer ball.
The spiky ball, yeah.
Ray's like, "What are we gonna do?" This guy.
Is that your first prediction for episode 8?
First prediction
We'll
for
write that
episode
down.
8.
I like that.
Sorry,
Write that
yeah,
down,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll write that down. Number 4, Kylo Ren is Leia and Han's son.
Wow.
Bingo.
you nailed it.
Bingo.
I didn't think that was. I didn't think. Okay.
Just want to bask in that.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
one.
And then Luke trained the Knights of Ren at some point.
It sounds like
I'm not sure.
well,
Maybe, maybe not.
he trained Kylo at least.
Yeah.
He trained Kylo. He trained other Jedi.
Mhm.
So you probably
We don't know much about the Knights of Ren.
probably trained a Knight of Ren.
Yeah.
Well, he did if we're talking Kylo.
I think we are.
True.
Yeah. So he did.
Um,
I'm gonna say 3 out of 5, man.
yeah,
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you're
well
winning.
done.
With some unanswered ones. that
With some
could still
unanswered
be
ones.
You might
yes.
still be right. Yeah.
And
Which is a theme for this episode. A lot of unanswered questions.
yes, absolutely.
It was cool. It's cool.
For my predictions, number 1, I went a step further, saying that both Rey and Kylo were Han and Leia's children. Half right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Rey is a Solo.
No, you pretty messed up.
There's like 2% chance. but maybe. I guess there's kind of a chance. I don't think so. Han dies. Chewie does not. I was right there with Ryan on that one. I thought Finn was going to lose a limb because losing a limb in Star Wars is kind of a thing.
Nobody got their arm chopped off.
Not that I can think of.
Just
No,
didn't
he
feel
got
like
his
a real
spine
Star
jacked up.
Wars. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no loss of limb. Didn't get it right there. Number 4, Luke trained Rey and Kylo. Kylo left to join the Knights of Ren. Definitely half
Possibly.
of that is right. I do believe Rey has some Jedi training from her childhood that she does not remember, even though she was remembering.
Remember.
I believe that, but that's not
Yeah,
That's
I
not fully
think you could
answered
be
either.
Right. We'll find
Yeah.
out.
half right for sure on that one. Number 5, Luke's first appearance will be saving Rey and Finn from Kylo. And I almost thought that happened when Kylo was trying to get Anakin's lightsaber with the Force.
Oh, and
A
it goes
small part of
flying
me
by
was
him.
thinking it was going to Luke,
Yeah.
and it went to Rey instead, which was fantastic.
Yeah, Rey's
That
cool.
was really cool.
Rey's
cool.
But for a split second, I thought that maybe I was going to be dead on with that one.
Yeah.
So I kind of got like
2?
1. Oh, no, I guess like 1.5, maybe 2.
Yeah, 1.5.
1.5.
For sure, possibly. Okay, Ryan, you win.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
actually, I think
Overly critical Ryan.
4 is like that's.
4 is pretty.
I think that's
half of it is right.
strongly possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Very
strongly
strong.
possible. Anyway, so those were our predictions going into the movie. We were right on some. We were wrong on some. Some we don't know yet, which
Some
is
we
kind
don't
of
know.
part of the fun or part of the frustration.
The misery.
Only at
We'll
first.
see.
I got used to it. I'm okay now.
So let's dive in now into our thoughts. Should we do our overall thoughts and then get into specifics, like brief thoughts each?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I could be.
Kylo. He has the hair. Eric, would you mind giving us your brief thoughts on Star Wars: The Force Awakens?
okay,
How many
so-
times have you seen it?
I've seen it 3 times.
Cool.
First time I was like, I might not like this. And the second time I was like, no, I think I like it. Third time I was like, oh, here's what I like, here's what I don't like. Overall, I really loved it. So I've got some grievances to air, and then I have a lot of happy things to say. So
Cool. For me, I really just wanted like a fun adventure that was in the same vein as the original trilogy, and I wanted the new characters to be exciting, have some intrigue and mystery behind them. So for me, that's I mean, I wanted a lot of things, but like that was like what was most important to me. For me, The Force Awakens did that. I love these new characters. I'm excited for where they could possibly go, and there's lots of directions they can go. So I have seen it 4 times, and I do acknowledge it is not without flaws.
what movie is?
However, I didn't need a perfect movie. I didn't need a perfect Star Wars movie. I needed a
in your
fun
home.
Star Wars movie that got me excited to be a fan again. I've always been a fan, but, to be proud to be a fan again, as opposed to like, oh, yeah, those prequels
There's
happened.
been some embarrassing years.
Anyways, I love the movie. It even, I enjoyed it the first time. The second time, I actually really liked it even more. And the good far outweigh the bad.
Yeah. First time I saw it, I've seen it 3 times also. This is interesting. We're doing a review on movies we've seen. A movie we've seen multiple
Collectively, 10 times
times.
Hey.
Between the 3 of us.
between the 3 of us.
The first time I saw it, going in, leading up, we're driving there. We saw it at 1:30 at night, so it was like an all day thing. I had to wait. Leading up to it, I was like, "This is gonna be fun." I was like really calm about it. Everything was fine, and then the crawl went up,
Oh
and
my
I was
gosh.
like, "Yeah," and then I was like, super focused. I was like, "Pay attention," reading every
Don't
word.
miss
You're like,
a
Don't
thing.
miss a thing.
Rereading each line, you're like,
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went from super calm to super on edge, and then that first sequence, which I loved so much, I was
On Jakku.
on Jakku. I was almost hyperventilating. I loved it so much. There's stormtroopers running around. There's X-wings.
Freaking
There's
laser
this
beam, like
new
Yeah,
dude.
there's
the laser
force
beam.
or
stopping
laser blast.
a blaster shot.
Yeah, there's
in midair.
There's this new dude, Poe Dameron, who seems really awesome.
Yeah.
And then Kylo Ren's little ship comes down, music plays.
Yeah,
and
the horns.
The
yeah.
horns. And it just felt so good, and it just went that way the rest of the movie. The next two times, obviously, you see flaws in it. There's things that bother me, and we'll talk about those. But doggone it, I felt like so happy watching it, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah,
Awesome.
All I saw my first time through were the flaws, and I went the opposite. I started loving it more afterward. Anyway.
It is funny though, because I've talked to quite a few people the ones who have seen it multiple times, that did enjoy it more. I
Yeah.
think although you were kind of saying you started seeing the flaws more the second time or third time.
They started. Actually, I think the second time I noticed them the most. The third time I was like, "Who gives a crap?"
Who gives a crap?
Well, the
Yeah,
thing is,
whatever.
all of us have grown up seeing all these movies so many times. We know the rhythm of the storytelling. We
Yeah.
know the acts of each movie. And so watching a Star Wars movie not knowing that is really disorienting because we're
Yeah.
not used to not knowing what's going on. So I think seeing it an extra couple times, you're like, now
You
I
do
know what
pick
to
up
expect.
stuff. Like
so it's nice.
I got to commend J.J. Abrams and co-writer Lawrence Kasdan, because I think they left a lot of goodies in there for you to pick up
Yeah.
on multiple viewings, on repeat
You
viewings.
start watching for where'd the jacket go?
Yeah,
Those kinds
because
of
the first
things,
time I'm
right?
like, I don't think Poe took off the jacket
But
in
he
the TIE
does,
Fighter,
right?
but
Like,
then
yeah,
Finn
they
has
give you-
it. Like,
they
how
give
does
you a
that
reason to
work?
watch
But yeah,
it.
no, he
It's
totally
cool.
does.
It's
I
cool.
totally I didn't even think about
That
that.
I
yeah.
thought that the first time, I'm like, I don't remember him taking off the jacket. How did he get
when
the
he got
jacket?
ejected, did it like
yeah,
whip off
yeah,
of his
exactly, from the TIE Fighter.
I
like a Sigourney
Anyways,
Weaver
yeah,
or something?
it wasn't a problem. I thought it was, and it wasn't. But no, like knowing Kylo's true heritage, that opening scene got even more interesting the second time.
Yeah, I know where
because
you came from.
Max von Sydow's character, which his name has been revealed, and I can't remember it now. It's like
Lars
Santeca?
Santeca.
Or
Yeah,
Santeca,
I could be wrong.
he knows at least the Solo family. And I've read about a little bit more about him. Apparently, he was like, he believes in the Force as like a religion. He's like a part of like the Church of the Force or something like that. He's not a Jedi, but he knows a lot about it. And
the release of the visual
dictionary or
that
visual
was
guide
nice.
or something like
that
that.
actually filled in a lot of gaps for me.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
Yeah.
That scene became more interesting on the second viewing for sure.
Yeah.
It was exciting the first time, but more
Very,
interesting the
very
second
exciting.
time.
That was so good.
So let's talk about like our favorite scenes, or should we talk about the bad stuff first?
I just want to get the bad stuff out of the way.
Okay.
Let's get it out.
Let's
and
get
then
it
we'll
out.
Just a parade.
Yeah, because
Rest of
really,
the
like,
video.
I have a few things to complain about, but overall, I just want to geek out and be joyful about this. So
Yeah.
I say we just get
Okay.
it out of the way.
What'd you have your problems? Eric?
All right, I've got a list of grievances. We're gonna have a little festive.
The airing of grievances.
Yeah,
How to
and we'll
make a list, I
grapple
should
and
make a list.
do the aluminum Christmas tree. Okay, okay. My first grievance is there were a few things that I felt were very contrived. First one, the Millennium Falcon chase on Jakku. One, I thought it was really fun, but as I watched it, I was just like, you guys are just coming up with excuses for the Millennium Falcon to crash around and fly in circles, and his gun gets jammed, and I'm like, there's a freaking gun on the top. What,
Yeah.
you can't
Climb up
But no,
there.
we have to stall the Millennium in a dive so that he can shoot him down with a jammed gun. I was just like, guys, stop. Just let's. If I lost time to good like backstory to this dumb chase scene, I'm pissed. So there's that, and then also similarly, the Rathtars on the Millennium, on Han's
that freighter.
It felt like Men in Black, and I was like,
Yeah.
stop trying to be funny and entertain me and have an exciting alien scene. Just like, move on.
Yeah.
So I thought that was contrived. I'm okay with it though. I can get over it. There were a few things in scripting that I didn't like. One, C-3PO's character, I felt like they made him a little dumber than usual. I don't feel like they really got his character, but that's okay.
He only had like 2 scenes really,
Yeah.
but
they were
still,
short.
yeah.
I don't know. He's like, oh, you probably don't recognize me because of my arm. I'm like, no, C-3PO.
Yeah.
C-3PO knows.
He's getting
people know
older.
him.
Maybe he's
Maybe he's
a
getting
little
glitchy,
slower.
right,
He needs a
okay.
RAM upgrade.
Also, so there was the C-3PO character. I feel like Han and Leia's dialogue felt a little awkward.
Okay.
Maybe that was just them purposely being awkward. I don't know. I didn't know. And that's pretty much it. I wasn't emotional when Han died.
Yeah.
Like, tears came to my eyes when freaking the initial yellow script comes on the screen.
Yeah. The crawl. Yeah.
Episode 7. I kind of cried a little. And then Han died, and I was just like, yeah, there it goes. I thought I wanted to feel more emotion there.
Yeah, that scene, I have conflicting feelings about that scene. Not because Han died, but yeah, I do feel like we should have felt it more. I was surprised that he died at the hands of his son. Like, that was not in my prediction.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But even though I saw it coming once they were meeting out on the catwalk or whatever, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is happening.
To be fair, this movie is more about Kylo Ren than it is about Han.
Yes,
so maybe
for
that's
sure.
the point. Like,
Yeah.
we care about the complexity of Kylo Ren, not the death of
And
Han.
that was the part of the scene that I
Good move.
did love. I thought Adam Driver in that scene killed it.
He was awesome.
I thought he was great showing the conflict. You even start to believe in him a little bit where you're like, oh, this guy is so
Loosely
damaged.
holding the lightsaber.
Yeah, and he's like reaching out to his father, like, even though you're just like, oh. Anyways, I liked what they were trying to do with that scene, but yeah, Han's death ultimately, like, the best part about Han's death was Chewie's reaction.
Well, Chewie when he's mad, and then Chewie later when he's kind
Yeah.
of like whimpering and like kind of crying.
Yeah.
That moment I was like, oh yeah, Han died. Poor Chewie. What's he gonna
Yeah,
do?
totally.
But when Han died, I just watched him fall
But yeah,
down the thing.
I agree with you. It wasn't. I liked the emotion of the scene, especially from Kylo, but I definitely felt like Han Solo's death should have been a little bit more impactful on your emotions.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why I was thinking about this, one of the reasons maybe why that is because no one else really reacts to it.
True.
Right? It's entirely based on an audience reaction. Chewie reacts, he gets upset.
Oh, Rey does.
Rey and Finn look pretty horrified.
They look horried.
for about
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
and then they run away.
But
And
then they
that's
also
pretty much
don't
it.
really like. They just met the guy.
They just met the guy.
When Leia and
Like, if
Rey
Luke had
see
seen
each other
Han-
and hug, that
If
was
Luke
cool.
had seen Kylo kill Han,
Oh boy,
that would have been
Well,
interesting.
Luke would have lost
that
his-
would
Yeah.
have been tough.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, but just no one else. It really didn't impact anyone else. And we see Leia, fall over. Whoa.
Yeah, she felt
Oh,
it.
no. Yeah, she
the
felt
Force.
it. And then they hug. She hugs Rey later.
Yeah.
And that is it. And so we weren't able to see anyone else really react to it. It's they're all just waiting for us to cry about it, and I didn't cry about it. I'm really upset. I miss Han. I'm gonna miss Han a ton. But
And
it should have been a bigger
story-wise,
deal.
it was an interesting turn. And I think it's going to definitely pay off in the end with Kylo's character. But yeah, no, we should have felt more.
It's like the critical part of it.
Although
Yeah.
maybe I think maybe Abrams just had to set priorities, right? He's like, I can keep this storyline moving, I can keep the energy going,
Yeah.
I can stay focused on Kylo Ren, or I can take an extra 30 seconds for everybody to cry, and that's not what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He kept it exciting, he kept the energy high. Maybe I didn't love that, but I'm betting it was deliberate.
Yeah.
True.
I hope it
I
was
do think there
deliberate.
could have been something. We don't have to wait. It doesn't, I think of when Gandalf died in Lord of the Rings, and with the music cuts out. That's an awesome scene, right?
It is.
We
And
feel it there.
especially afterwards when they get out of the mines and they're taking their moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Aragorn's being the strong one. Like,
Yeah.
we got to go. And Boromir's like, come on. Like, give him a break.
Like, we
For
don't
pity's sake.
give him a moment for pity's sake. So it doesn't have to be like that necessarily.
crawling with orcs by nightfall.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie.
I love that. But even something where like Ray's really upset because
Yeah.
we know Kylo Ren told us that she sees Han as the father she never had.
Right.
That should be a big moment for her then.
I feel
Yeah.
like flying away after they blew up Starkiller Base, like we could have seen like Rey and Chewie sitting on the Millennium Falcon together, just for like
yeah.
Yeah.
5 seconds. You know?
Yeah, or I was
That would've
thinking
given me some reprieve.
maybe as they're running away, like Ray's more upset about it. She like doesn't want to move away from
Ooh,
that railing,
Finn
and then
has to
Finn's like,
drag
"No,
her.
we gotta go."
Finally,
Yeah.
Finn
That would-
really
that
would've been
needs to
something
take her hand.
Yeah.
For once. Like,
So us amateur filmmakers here.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah,
time,
we know,
JJ.
hey, we know
next
what it
time,
was.
JJ. You should. I just thought that might help and maybe make that more meaningful.
yeah.
I also thought going off of Han's death in the later scene when they return back to the Resistance base that there was no exchange whatsoever after the death of Han between Chewie and Leia. And even in the first time I saw it, when I was just elated with what I was seeing, a new Star Wars movie, that bothered me.
Yeah. Rey comes out and hugs Leia, and while they're hugging, we
You
see
see
Chewie
Chewie.
walking by in
Yeah.
the background. And it should have been the opposite. Rey and Leia haven't even met. Chewie and Leia should have embraced, and then Rey is like, "Oh, you're Han." You're
Yeah.
Leia. Okay, like, "Hi, I'm Rey. I'm sorry, I was there." Like,
I do think it's interesting
backwards.
how much attention Leia does give Rey in the hug, especially. Like it's a pretty like not intense
I mean,
hug, but
is
it's
this-
a.
is this a plot hole or is it revealing a past that we don't know about?
But I liked that hug, but there should have been something between Chewie and Leia in my book.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the other big problems was as even when they get back, there's the hug, and then the next scene after is R2 waking up
Right.
with the map.
Right.
Yeah.
And it goes from
It's
that.
just-
We have no,
Yeah.
even like
Yeah.
destroying the Starkiller base, this big victory, there's no celebration really at all. Or any
Or
moment to,
and no remorse for
collect.
Han either. I
Yeah.
mean, I know he wasn't like a part of the resistance, but like
Right.
I mean,
People
he
knew
was
about him.
people knew about him. He was
Yeah.
a general in the rebellion, right? And
And he made the
he
Kessel
was
run in.
yeah.
12.
14 parsecs?
12.
Oh no, 12.
12, guys.
12.
Jeez.
And along those lines too, like at least in like A New Hope after Obi-Wan dies, I mean, you have after they leave the Death Star, you have that moment where Luke is, sitting down and Leia comes up to him, like trying to console him. He's like,
Yeah.
I can't believe he's gone. Like there
Yeah.
just wasn't any of that for Han, and that's sad.
Yeah.
It's all right. We did it on our own.
We did.
I can't believe
Han, we
he's
love
gone.
you. We won't forget you.
We'll never forget.
Never forget.
No,
Watch that hashtag.
not easy there.
Okay.
Yeah. Ryan, any
Um,
other problems that you had?
I totally agree with the freighter. Actually, I agree more with the freighter when I first saw it.
Oh, the
And the
aliens,
Rathtars. The more I thought about it, I think the thinking was, one, it gets them out of the freighter and it gets them rushing to the next place,
which was
Right.
nice.
which is fine.
Yeah.
And it's also the first time we really get to see Han smuggle.
We've
Right.
never
We
seen
know
Han
he's a
smuggle.
smuggler.
Yes.
We've never seen him smuggle.
And it
Yeah.
gives some real context for what's he been doing since him and Leia have been
Yeah.
apart. Well, he didn't just crawl in a hole and cry.
And I enjoyed the banter between him and the two gangs. Like that was
Oh, yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Chewie there too.
All right, what was the second time?
Yeah. It's like I
Yeah, so I think giving Han more of a moment was maybe the purpose of the,
the
freighter.
purpose of
Oh,
the
that's
scene.
fair.
Yeah.
I just
That was
wish there was, because those pirate guys, they didn't exist before that scene. They didn't exist after that scene.
Yeah.
It just felt like a little like
Detour.
vignette.
Well, and it also
That wouldn't need to be there.
we also get to see the new order get notified that Rey
They
and
left
Finn are
with
on
the
Millennium
droid.
Falcon.
Mhm.
With Han
I mean,
Solo.
Yeah, I mean that was an important point.
So at least they connected.
It connected
like,
some dots for
They
us.
connected to the storyline a little bit. They at least tried. There was the attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was another big one. What other ones should I talk about?
I have one if you're still thinking, but
I think
go ahead.
backstory was also a problem. Not enough backstory. And
Like-
part of that was on purpose. Part of that was because
Yeah.
there's so many characters.
A big initial complaint that I had is I was like, what's been going on? What's
Right.
happening in the universe right now? They're
Yeah.
not telling me. But that's exactly the experience everybody got when A New Hope came out.
Yeah.
Nobody knew,
True.
right?
Yeah,
And
they
so,
talked
that
they
was
talked about the
very-
Clone Wars,
It was very true to
the dark times
the
before
very first one that came out, right? We know
Yeah.
nothing. And that's
Yeah.
and
neat.
Lucasfilm has this
Ryan
huge
still
plan
hates it. I
as
still
far
hate
as canon materials like books and comic books
Yeah,
and
they've
games.
got-
Now that Force Awakens has come out, I think the gap between story-wise between Episode 6 and Episode 7 is going to blow up with all sorts of new books and comics and
which will be cool.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. It would have been nice to know a little bit a little bit more, especially like the relationship between like the Resistance and the Republic. Like, because you really only see the Republic in one scene, and it's when they get destroyed.
But this story was super focused on characters.
Yes, it was.
Right? He was building characters, not galaxies, and that's
Yeah.
neat.
True. I think when I mentioned backstory, I think it was
Sorry.
backstory on characters.
On characters.
On
Okay.
characters.
Sorry,
I
Ryan.
wish we could have had a little. But
Sorry.
that also, I was going to mention that also.
Sorry.
But backstory on characters like Finn leaving the Empire or the First Order, I did not buy it at all.
Was there a lead up to that? Has he been struggling for a long time?
We have no idea.
Did
At
he
least I
freak out all
know
of a sudden?
something about him as a person. Because, I mean, as far as we know, he's been indoctrinated in the First Order his entire life.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to kill these villagers. Who would? it was just. Does that happen often? That people don't just kind of leave? I didn't feel.
Yeah,
I swear there's already been like some sort of like short story or short comic. I can't remember, something that has come out that like explores Finn's like
Really?
kind of training a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm hazy on this a little bit. I've only heard others talk about it, but it sounds like he actually did have some like combat training as far as like when he wields the lightsaber later, they had those, whatever that stormtrooper had that he was wielding to, so they had some of that like fencing kind of training. But I think this was like the first time where he just saw the ruthless brutality of the First Order as opposed to just like soldiers fighting an enemy,
and working on sanitation on Starkiller Base.
And the guy who got killed was a buddy of his.
Okay.
And I think he was scared too, for one.
Speaking of that moment, total
But
sidetrack.
we didn't get any of that in the movie.
I love how effective like the touching
The
of the
blood.
helmet was for
Yeah.
marking Finn as a character.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there he is, that guy.
Now we know.
We know
nice.
exactly
That was
who he
pretty cool.
is. Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Going back to that scene, I loved so he doesn't shoot the villagers, and then Kylo's walking away, the blaster shot releases, and then all of a sudden he just stops and turns and stares at Finn. Like, I love that scene so much, and it's just he looks so intimidating with the mask and everything. But
That was pretty cool.
yeah, anyways, that was a side note.
Great side note. I think those are my main grievances.
So a question I'd like to pose is, most of the complaints about the movie from those who were disappointed or didn't like it overall was that it was basically unoriginal and a copy of Episode 4, A New Hope, with the new Death Star.
Blow up the big scary base that
Yeah,
blows things
Star
up.
Killer base, not Death Star, but
Well,
same kind of thing, right?
That was the problem, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys think those arguments are valid? Did it bother you?
Yes, they're valid. No, I don't care.
I'm in that kind of same boat.
Yeah, I feel like
It's so much fun.
I was so surprised people kept talking about that.
Yeah.
I was so surprised that was such a thing people used to criticize the movie.
Of all the problems,
Of
that's
all the
relatively
things you could
small.
talk, it's
Like,
how many remakes have we had
Yeah.
in the
yeah.
38 years since Episode 4 came out, the original Star Wars? No one cares
Right.
how many reboots we had, how many movies that are just like it.
yeah.
That are repeats.
Alien, RoboCop,
Well,
Yeah.
and even like this year,
Terminator.
Mhm.
like
all they do.
yeah, like we've had a few movies return to old franchises, Mad Max and Creed in particular,
Oh yeah.
who have both of those have been
Rocky.
widely praised. Mad Max doesn't necessarily cover the plot of a previous film, but it's almost like
It's a similar story.
it's very similar story,
Yeah.
and
guy's
almost
chasing
just
each other
pure
through the
based
desert.
on action, right? And Creed was very much, I mean, they did a great job at establishing Adonis Creed as a new character, but it was kind of like following lots of the same beats as the original Rocky.
Yeah.
And like, not to say that people weren't annoyed by that, but overall, I don't feel like there's this backlash against it because of that. But then Star Wars comes out and has some, whether it's a carbon copy or an homage, whichever side you fall on, but then people are just up in arms about it. I think it's kind of funny.
So I think a lot of people are ignoring the stuff that makes it different from A New Hope. We have Finn's character, completely new, someone who defects from the First Order / Empire.
We get a stormtrooper character.
Yeah, we get a stormtrooper character, and that was my favorite. So that's one of the reasons why I love that
Never
opening.
gotten to know a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, except Clone Wars, I guess, if you count that.
Yeah, a little bit.
That doesn't- and that's one of the things I love that opening scene, that sequence also, because we see nameless, faceless stormtroopers getting shot, and then one gets shot, and
And
for
then
the
one
first
gets
time,
marked.
Well, the first time we push in on that,
Yeah.
and
that
we
moment.
see a moment of humanizing these faceless
We've seen so many
troopers.
stormtroopers just get gunned down.
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
just
we don't
body
over
count.
care.
and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
cool.
something that was really new, and I really liked that. Kylo Ren's character also,
Mm-hmm.
even though he's a bad guy, and he wears a mask, that's pretty much where the comparisons end with
Yeah.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, absolutely.
Darth
Even though
Vader-
he's trying to emulate him the whole time.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty bad job of it.
Yeah.
His
And so-
motivations are different, though.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah.
So that was really great. Stuff like that. It's okay to to kind of go through the same beats. If there's one thing I think where the echoing went a little too far, that I wish I could take out is Star Killer Base.
Yeah.
I wish there was something different. It didn't have to be a bigger, better Death Star.
Yeah,
If it was
he had
something-
another exhaust
Well,
port
and
to
it-
hit, and
Yeah, if it was something else, even if it was shaped differently.
Well, and
I
it just
would've
didn't
been like,
make
yeah.
sense to me either. Like the
Yeah.
Death Star makes sense to me,
Yeah.
as far fetched as it
It's
is.
big.
Does,
and
it,
it shoots
does that
a-
make sense
No,
to you,
it does.
Todd?
Shoots
Okay.
a big old laser.
It shoots a big
Why
old
the heck
laser
not?
and it blows up planet. It's a
Okay.
space station that can move, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's- yeah,
Whereas
cool.
Star Killer Base, can it move? I don't know. I think there was like maybe a reference
Yeah,
that it
there's like
can.
this reference that
but then
like,
they call
suck
it
up
a
sun and then
planet.
move to another one. And
But then if it sucks up the sun, like where does it get its next shot? You
Yeah, like,
know?
that's
how
what
does it
gun.
get energy to move again?
Yeah, so those were the things that
Yeah.
bothered me about Star Killer Base. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I think if Star Killer Base was different, I think the complaints about the similarities would have maybe been
Because
much
it's
smaller.
so obvious, then it gets people
Yeah.
thinking, and they're like, yeah, look, there's just some kid on a desert planet that doesn't know
Yeah,
what to do, and they
right.
get picked up, and then, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, nobody would have thought of that if there hadn't been a Star Killer Base.
But hey, at least Ray wasn't the one that blew up Star Killer Base. Like Luke was the one
Yeah,
who blew it
yeah.
up. You know,
Yeah.
it was Poe. Poe did it
best,
with his
best
squadron.
fighter in the galaxy.
Yeah, I really liked
Don't
Poe.
let these thugs scare you.
He is so cool. I'm excited for him the rest.
Yeah, we need more of him for sure.
Yeah,
he
he's
wasn't
cool.
in it enough. I
We need more
loved.
of everyone.
Yeah, we
I
do.
like
we do
them
need
all.
more.
I
Yeah.
want more of Ray.
And
I want
that's-
more of Kylo Ren.
And that's
Yeah.
what I loved so much about this movie is I want more of each and every one of them.
Yeah, it's fun.
And Kylo Ren, it was a big surprise to me. He looked awesome in the trailers, but then they really humanize him. And some people are just like, oh, he's just this whiny kid and stuff. But like, and it's true, but they also said that he is an evolving character. Like that he's
a
not.
villain in progress or something.
Yeah, a villain in progress, exactly. And
Oh, yeah.
I loved also the reverse angle they took with him because usually we're getting Anakin or Luke or someone resisting the seduction of the dark side. And he's
Yeah.
fighting so hard to not be seduced by the light. And I thought that was so fascinating.
What is that all about?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
I thought that was
That's
super
cool.
cool. And that's what makes the Han scene work for Kylo. Because I think he was still fighting it in that moment. I think he knew he needed to kill Han to go down the dark side, but I do think there was that conflict in him that's like, I don't know if I can do that.
I wonder if this is like the ceiling moment of him going to the dark side, right? Like
Yeah.
he was a little teetery, he struggled. He's killed his dad now.
Yeah.
He's gone all the way.
Yeah.
Well, then he's just full on. Even after that, like
You know?
he's full on rage almost after that. You know, when he's wounded from Chewie's bowcaster, but he still goes after Rey
Yeah,
and
he's-
Finn in the
yeah.
forest. He didn't need to do that, you know. But
Yeah.
I think he's threatened by Rey, big time.
Yeah.
But also I think the rage and the dark side was really like propelling him to go after them. So I am really excited to see him, and I think you're right. I don't know if it necessarily means he's irredeemable,
Sure.
but I think this plunged him on a deep, dark path for episode 8, which will be cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a dark movie.
Yeah. With Ryan Johnson writing it too.
Excited.
Right, you know,
I'm excited. Okay.
Brian needs a change of pants over there. He got
So I'm always have this internal conflict about like which is the best movie, which is better made. Star Wars is not the best movie of the year, but I probably would put it at my number 1 because I did not have way more fun this year at the movies than I did watching Star Wars The Force Awakens. To me, that's all I really care about. It's got flaws. If I were to rate it as a film, I'd probably give it somewhere like, I don't know, a B+ or something like that. But because I love Star Wars, because it got me excited about Star Wars again and these new characters, I have no problem for myself giving it an A. I thought it was a blast. I can totally overlook its flaws because there's way more good in it for me. Way more positives than the negatives. Grades for you guys?
if I went okay. Yeah, okay. Just entertainment this year, loved it. I give it an A. If I was grading it, episodes 4 through 6, 7. Yeah, against those episodes.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it more of like a B+.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
really,
that's-
for the year, it gets an A. I had a great time.
I was gonna say B plus. It feels a little harsh though. Once I incorporate enjoyment level, it goes up to an A minus.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the other thing is, I think maybe as 8, 9 come out, 7th grade may continue to climb.
It's true, 'cause the
things that
gaps
we
get
thought
filled
were
in.
Problems actually weren't.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Or they're so good that we'll be like episode 7.
Yeah.
Super lame.
I will say I probably
Seven.
enjoyed, even though maybe Star Wars New Hope is a better movie, I think I enjoy entertainment value episode 7 more than I do like A New Hope. Empire's my favorite. I really enjoy Return of the Jedi despite its flaws, but I think the entertainment value of Return of the Jedi is really high.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I thought the entertainment value of Force Awakens was really high. It's not the
really
best
was.
Star Wars movie, but it was a lot of fun. So that is it for us and Star Wars Episode 7. That was a lengthy one. Kudos to you if
Yeah.
you stuck with us. But you must love Star Wars.
Thanks, Mom.
Hey.
We also have, there's like, as we mentioned before, there's tons of books and comic books that fit into the Star Wars universe, into the historical timeline of what happens in between movies. We actually made a really cool timeline that you guys can check out online at wallaroomedia.com/star-wars.
Or click
We will
here.
also,
Or-
Here.
it'll
We'll
either
do some-
be a
one of
link
those.
in the video or in the description.
description.
It'll be in the description.
It's a little easier.
The editor says so. Check it out in the description. You can keep up, and we're going to be adding to it too. So there'll be lots to add to it. It'll help you get all caught up before Episode 8 comes out, before Rogue One comes out, all of that good stuff. So until next time, I believe The Revenant will be next
Ooh.
for the CinAmigos. We are seeing it
Uh,
this week.
Yeah, we're gonna see it tomorrow.
I'll see
He's
it
seeing the
Friday.
next day.
Yep, the next day. So that will be next. Until then,
Happy New Year.
happy 2016.
Thanks for watching.